everybody, and welcome to episode 116 of the ATL Falcons UK podcast. Historic numbers. This week, I've got Liam and Mark with me, as always. We're going to run through a preview of the Bills game. We're, of course, going to go for Rookie Watch, Fraud Watch, and then do a little whip around of the league. But to get this show started, we have a very special guest here this week, which is Matt from UK Bills, who I'm going to tag in now. Hi, Matt. You okay?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you for coming at such short notice. I'll get straight into it, pal. How are you feeling about your season so far? Just a bit of an overview. Of course, you've had a result that you might not want to talk about just yet, but then I'll open it up to the boys.
To be honest, that result, the way was probably coming. I think if it was anything, then probably would have been the Patriots that actually would have beaten us, and obviously they did. But I mean, our season, it's been all right. Obviously, 4-1 now. Obviously, you've had people saying that it's more of a cupcake schedule because we faced the Jets, the Dolphins, the Saints, Patriots, and obviously the Ravens.
Yeah. And
really, only the Ravens were the only favoured team, if you want to put it that, in the AFC to take on the Bills and Chiefs for that number one seed. And it was a game that I won't forget because I went to bed when they were like 35-19 down. Woke up to a text message from my one of my podcast hosts saying, "Oh, Matt," and looked at the score.
Why have you done that?
Yeah, looked at the score, and obviously 41-40 on there. But I think for us, the season's been all right. I mean, there have been times during it that our defense really has been struggling, especially our run defense, and is a sort of a little bit of a concern around that. Our offense has stalled a little bit against the Patriots with pretty much beating themselves on penalties, and towards the end in the fourth quarter, Josh missing an open, I think it was Shakir, or someone like that in the end zone, which would have given a go-ahead touchdown on there. But at the end of the day, it's a loss, but we just rebuild and start a new run starting from this week.
You hope.
No, my luck, it probably won't.
We don't.
I'll open it up to the boys now. I'd just like to caveat, of course, it's been a bye week for the Falcons, so we've got a little bit more fuel in the tank than your boys might, but you've got the benefit of having it being a Monday Night Football game. So go on, Mark, grill him.
I think I'm just interested to talk about the Bills' defense because that is just a tale of two units almost. I think overall in total defense, Bills are still kind of there or thereabouts, but that's massively down to their passing defense. So you're second in passing defense, but second to last. No, sorry, I'm lying. Fourth to last in Russian defense. So just kind of, what's your take on that? Why is one so good against one so seemingly negative? Because like it almost feels like you got two separate units out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And to be honest, with the fact that obviously our secondary has been a bit injury hit this year. Our safeties, Bishop is actually starting to come on. Taylor Rapp seems to be gone from good early last season to a little bit mediocre, a little bit downplaying, and obviously no Max Hairston, obviously injured. I don't think they've opened the window yet for him. Obviously got Trey White back, but he got beaten up a lot by Diggs. And to be honest, I always thought it would be the pass defense that would be a little bit more worse than the rush defense. I just don't know why we're struggling at the moment to stop the run, where last year we were sort of middle to lower pack in the rush defense. And obviously with McDermott being pretty much a safety in his playing days and coached the secondary before becoming a DC and a head coach, we kind of know that he's actually our defensive backs are going to be one of the strongest suits, and even with Benford having a down season from last year, it's going to be a tricky time, and we've had, as everyone calls it, a cupcake schedule so far out of the way, with only the Ravens up until, say, Sunday, that really tested us, or could have tested us. And we've still got the Chiefs in a few weeks' time. We've still got the Bucks. We've still got the Eagles. Obviously, we've got a rematch with the Patriots, and we've got teams that are good, both passing and rushing, that really going to test us and really see how much we can actually adapt in each season. I think the main thing, which I'm trying to find the stats on a little bit more, is that our defensive line, even though we pretty much remodeled that with Joe Bosa, with obviously Ogunjobi and Hoyt, who are due to come back after the bye week, we've revamped it, but we're still struggling to get that much pressure and that sack on the quarterback. I think we this season got 8 sacks altogether compared to last year, where we were actually right near the top, or there or thereabouts around the top. So it's an interesting bend don't break thing with it, but I could see in the off season there's probably going to be a lot more work to be done, mainly around that secondary, to be honest.
Sure. Liam?
I guess for me, be sort of where do you think your strengths are this season? We got, what should the Falcons be sort of looking out for? I think there's obviously some obvious ones, but is there any sort of like hidden gems you think within the team that we should be looking out for?
I think at the moment on offense, it is obviously, I would say Josh Allen being that, but obviously that's probably the easiest answer to put on there. So I'll take him out of that. It's actually James Cook, to be honest. I think he's obviously the leading touchdown scorer by all running backs since the start of last year. He's gradually improved. He's got, I think, apart from last week, he went 8 straight 100 games, which actually broke a franchise record. He's an all-round back, and he's really shown up quite a lot. And the offensive line as well. Not many teams can say that they've had the same 5 guys pretty much set in stone for the last 2 years. Okay, last week we missed, or 2 weeks ago against Saints, we missed Spencer Brown and all that. But we've pretty much had the same 5 for the last 2 years. So we've got that continuity and strength in there. And we've seen that how Josh Allen's actually got more time to throw, actually has good scramble lanes when he has to do a scramble. And really, those two are probably our strengths on there. People may look at the wide receivers, the fact we haven't got an out-and-out number one, but we've got that everybody eats mantra that can really, really scare defensive coordinators and make them have to game plan for not just Josh Palmer, but Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel when he's actually been given a chance. So having those options on there really gives our offense strength. But as soon as you actually take it away, it's just how does the offense adapt and how does the whole team adapt? And we saw against the Patriots that they needed just a little bit more in there to really come out with that win.
Yeah, 100%. I think I was looking at some of the stats and the grades, and the offensive line on both the run game and the pass game was right up there in terms of the grading. So I think it's a strong asset for any team to have. But obviously, when you've got the likes of Allen and Cook to sort of hit those holes, both of them can do it at a high rate. And obviously, if you give Josh Allen basically any sort of time, he's got an arm that obviously can find pretty much anyone on the field. So there'd be it's a definite concern, I guess, from our side to obviously get pressure on Josh Allen, because I think that's going to be our key to success. He's obviously making him, make some of those off-platform throws and cause a few mistakes that he has got in his locker. But obviously, give him any sort of time and composure, he's going to be very hard to stop for any team.
He's human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think from our perspective, one big improvement compared to the last couple of weeks, we've got AJ Terrell back in the fold after having no notable cornerbacks for the last couple of weeks in terms of consistency. AJ really has been that man over the last 4 or 5 years now. So we've got a little bit more reassurance than we've had previously. I know you've just highlighted all the different tools there. I'm going to assume that you're going to go for the same game plan that everybody else has gone for and not target anyone that's near AJ. But how do you see Alan taking that on in terms of having someone back in the fold for a change?
To be honest, I think he would actually. I think he would challenge it because I mean we've gone up against obviously Source, but he actually only really stays on one side of the field, so we can always adapt that way on there. But Josh, I don't think would be is phased about who's marking their best receiver. If there's open, he will actually he'll go for it. And I really think I do think that there is a good chance on there. It just depends on how well we can actually manage the run game, because I think that is going to be the biggest way that probably the Falcons are going, if they're going to have a chance of winning, will probably have, is actually in that run game. And obviously Bijan's actually a really good running back, so it's one of those that can our defense, and hopefully we'll have Ed Oliver back, and we've got a star in the making in Dion Walker, our 4th round rookie in the team. That can we actually hold him a little bit more, and can we actually get Penix under pressure and actually make those mistakes and give our pass defense more flowers, if you want to call it that, and pad that number 1 pass defense up.
I think that I was going to ask the question about whether Ed Oliver was due back.
It's looking likely. He's posted on Instagram recently about it, so it looks like he probably will be back. We'll just have to wait for the for what he's actually like on the injury reports for this next few days.
Yeah, I personally think he's the best defensive tackle in the league when he's healthy. I think it's that disruptive. I think he's a very, very good player, and he would be a huge positive or negative, which if he's back, depending on which team you're looking at it from.
To be honest, you kind of see his impact. Okay, the Ravens game was more of an anomaly because obviously you've got Lamar and Henry. You don't know. You have to cover one of them, both of them, both in the backfield together, and you're going to have a hard time. But you've seen the few games where Ed Oliver hasn't played. That punch, if you want to call it, from that defensive line has lacked a little bit compared to when he was. I think him and Bosa in the first 2.5 weeks were probably 2 of the most feared, or 2 of the most highly graded defensive players, at least for the Bills, and a little bit in the NFL. But you take one out and the other struggles, and Ed Oliver is that key component, and hopefully we'll have him back. If not, then at least we get him another couple of weeks to rest, ready for the Chiefs in about 3 weeks' time.
I do like, to my earlier point about the defenses. I think it's quite mad because I've listened to a lot of punditry and a lot of commentary over the past couple of days that said, oh, the where you're going to hit the Bills is in the secondary, which is why I'm kind of surprised that the pass defense and the run defense are as they are, because actually I think the key to us winning or losing this game, obviously not yourself, is whether Penix has the time to be able to pick out maybe those longer throws, because from what I'm led to believe, and I don't follow the Bills as obviously closely as maybe some more NFC teams, for example. Why do you think the rhetoric at the moment is that your secondary is weaker than it could be?
I think looking at it is injury wise, and obviously a loss of Russell Douglas. Obviously he's obviously been playing for Dolphins, but he's not been doing very well there. Benford having a down day, but I think the one thing I can probably point to is the fact that because the Bills are so easy to run on, you're going to see more rushing on there. So in a way, the stats are padded up a little bit for that pass defense because you're running the ball more and getting more success through the ball. But we still have Benford. He is a solid. He's not elite yet, but he's pretty much on the boundary of being in the elite group. But we've got players that actually will come up and actually and work, and it's just the coaching really. But injuries happen, schemes happen, and the run game is probably the worst thing that could happen to that secondary because it opens up the play action.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Moving away from the game itself a little bit, and sorry to take you back to last weekend's game for yourself.
That's all right.
What went wrong for you in that perception? Because obviously it was a close game anyway, so it's not like you got blown out of the water. But where did the Patriots catch you that other teams maybe haven't so thus far this season?
To be honest, I think, and I'm in our show we're gonna talk about it a little bit more on there. I think it's more the Bills beating themselves more than anything. I mean, you're having 8 penalties in the first half. Obviously, the fumbles didn't help, and we've actually lost the turnover battle for the first time in about 23, 24 games. So a key to win is actually to beat the Bills is to beat them in the turnover. If you beat them in the turnover, then there's 9 times out of 10 you're going to actually win it. But for that Patriots game, they didn't really do anything special. I think it's more the Bills beating themselves. Allen probably missing a read or two, a few costly drops. People say that no cool penalties on some of the Bills players, but that's never an excuse for that because it works both ways usually. But yeah, I think with that game, the Patriots didn't really do too much special. It's just trying to, if you can, confuse Josh at the line of scrimmage and really get into his head. Let's put it that way.
Definitely feels like we're heading into a game that's going to be decided in the trenches on both sides, right? Like it's ultimately how are those offensive and defensive lines gonna cope, and how much are they gonna allow to run, and also how much pressure, because I mean, as great as Penix has been most of the time so far, since he's been Atlanta Falcons QB1, has to be said that the more rattled he gets, it's not been a good look. So yeah, I think for me this definitely screams which team's going to win in the trenches more.
I think you look at it. I think the Bills are like 6th in sack rate and 12th in pressure rate. Even though I've yet to really see how they've actually they've really come up with that, because I've not, in my case, I haven't seen that much pressure and sack rate on there. But they can get to the quarterback. It's just about, and McDermott does have a good record against the rookie / second year quarterbacks in the NFL. So, but then again, I said that last week against Drake May, and even praised Drake May of being a Tom Brady light for that. But
whoa.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that because I think you must have heard me. But no, May has turned into a decent quarterback. Yeah, but I think we can get on there and say our O line has been consistent for the last 2 years, and Aaron Cromer, our offensive line coach is probably the best O-line coach probably in the game at the moment, and had success not just with the Bills but the Rams, won a Super Bowl with them, and really got the best out of David Edwards, out of Conor McGovern, who obviously went from guard to centre last year when Mitch Morse actually got released, and obviously Osiris Torrance, who they've actually come up, and even Spencer Brown from North Iowa. He's actually turned into a big bruising guy, and we've got two really talented bookends in Dawkins and Brown. So I think you're right that the offensive line, defensive line is going to be the key to the game, and I'm just hopeful that we can bloody stop the run game and make sure we can actually win it in the past game instead.
It's interesting.
I hope that doesn't happen.
It's interesting because I've just taken a look, and you guys don't actually, like, your sacks are really, really kind of spread out throughout the team. I think the most sacks that anybody's got on the Bills at the moment is 2.
Jaquan Jones.
And Cole Bishop. So
Yeah.
got 2 for Cole Bishop, 2 for Joey Bosa, 2 for Daquan Jones. Even half a sack for a name that rings a bell. I've got a feeling we drafted him originally. Zion Logue, wasn't he one of ours, Liam?
Yeah.
Time?
I think we got a 7th round, I think, wasn't it? Well,
Yeah.
So you can say there you got a 1 tech in Jones, you got a safety joint first in the sacks for the Bills, and you've got Rousseau. I think he's got like 1, I think, or half or something like that. Coming off the top of my head, but we've got the talent, but it's just the execution, as they say, that needs to be done, and just making sure that we actually tackle, because that seems to be our weak spot is tackling. Because I think we've actually near the bottom for yards after contact and missed passes and missed tackles. So
yeah. I did spot that.
Interestingly, and we're very good at jinxing things on this podcast, and I'm sure it's usually Danny that does it, but I'll say it out loud. Is only 2 interceptions so far for the Bills as a team this season.
Sorry, was that
so only 2 interceptions this season for the Bills as a team. So don't worry, we're gonna make sure we sort that out for you.
It'll give the network something to talk about, because they always seem to love talking about Josh Allen being the turnover machine and all that, where statistically his turnover ratio is actually less than most of the guys in the Hall of Fame, well, a fair few of the guys in the Hall of Fame, and obviously way lower than Mr. Mahomes himself. So make him feel human, and that'll be all good.
Yeah, the tackling thing's interesting with the with our, as you mentioned, we've got our secret weapon in Bijan Robinson, who's probably the best at making people miss a tackle in the league right now. He's got jukes from a different planet, really. So it's going to be interesting how they handle him with if they've been struggling with tackling so far. They're going to come up against somebody pretty difficult to tackle, so that's going to be an interesting matchup.
That's why we need to stop the run,
I'm so glad that Liam decided to throw his own jinx in there as well.
He's going to get tackled every single No, I believe he out-juke anybody in this league, so it wouldn't be it's not a negative to miss a tackle on him, but obviously if they miss a few
defense, yeah.
Good stuff.
Anything else, boys, before we relieve Matt of his duties and then scrutinise the Bills for another 10 minutes?
No, nothing from me.
No, nothing from me. Thanks so much for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it. And
no worries. Thank you for having me.
I would say the best of luck, but I don't mean it, so I won't.
Not this week.
Here's to a good game on Monday night.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll leave it at that. Thank you for having me on, guys.
Do you want to plug your channel and everything, and what you guys do and where you are and everything?
Yeah, you can find us at UK_Bills on Instagram, on Facebook. Go for Buffalo. I can't even remember my own Facebook group now. Just type in Buffalo Bills UK, UK_Bills on X, and we have a podcast, the Red, White, and Buffalo Blues. Find on all your podcast platforms. And we usually do record on Thursday nights, Friday, release out Friday morning. And yeah, we're going into episode 347, I think, tomorrow. So 6 years, 347 episodes later, and I'm still got my voice somehow. I don't know why.
Lovely stuff.
Amazing. Thank you, buddy.
For coming on, Matt.
No worries.
Notice. It's been really good to get an insight to your team's side, but unfortunately, this is where we draw the line with the niceties, because the second I kick you off, that's it until we've played you now. So
that's fine. We'll be doing the same tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Good night. See you later, mate.
Take it easy.
Stunning. Nice little insight to what we're facing up to. Before we move on to all the segments, is there anything that you boys want to add in from a Falcons perspective about the game?
No, I think my point earlier on is really for me how the game is won and lost. This is going to be a difficult game. I make no bones about that. Buffalo are a great team. They've got a great quarterback. Not a lot of people on their team on fraud watch, which is always a good a good yardstick. So I think it's going to be hard. I think I do think that we can win this game, and you know me, forever the optimist, because I think we can. I think we will. But it is going to be one of those games, guys, that I think could get potentially feisty in the trenches. And I think the two running backs are determine how close to the game this is.
I think it's a difficult one as well, not just from the quality of the team, but the Bills have that buffer in their division at the moment because they're nearly nailed on to go into the playoffs. I know it's so early in the season, but when you look at the competition, you've got the Pats that are up and down, that's fine. But the Dolphins and the Jets are like done for. Awful. So yeah, exactly, awful. So they've kind of got that little bit of buffer where they know that as long as they win all of those games, whereas to us, we're looking up at the books at the moment in time, of course, a few wins ahead now with us a game behind them. So I feel a bit of nerves from a Falcons perspective. I'm actually with you, Mark. I think we're going to win. I think we're due a win against a contender that's actually deserved, because it is the lesser teams that we seem to buckle more against.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a good mark on the division and on the league to show that we actually want playoffs this season and we are capable of doing so.
For sure, and I think I would rather have this game at home than one of the, as you say, maybe more lesser teams. But then again, we did get absolutely done off the Panthers, so let's not get too high up on the moral high ground, shall we? Yeah. But for me, this is a game where it sends out a bit of a statement, and it puts a lot of people who questioned us on a little bit of notice, and I think that's really, really important because we could still go through the season, make it through the wild card round, have a good season, but if you can't beat playoff teams, then you're kind of already urinating into the breeze, as it were. So I mean, I trust the guys to run it down their throats, and I think using Taylor a bit more to confuse matters, and having Bijan on that pass option, because 2 interceptions from an entire team, and like I say, I don't want I don't want to jinx it. I really, really don't. But that's of a team of a Bills caliber. I think that's kind of something.
Yeah.
Despite how good their pass defense is, if we can get the right amount of air under that ball, I think we've got the weapons to make them pay for it a little bit. So, yeah, all in the trenches for me. Liam, I don't know if you had any other points.
No, I mean, I think it will be a bit of a battle of the running backs. I think whoever sort of shines there is probably on the winning team. And a key for us will obviously be what Josh Allen ends up doing with his legs. He can often get those like free sort of like 10-yard, 15-yard gains, and if he gets any game where he's getting those consistently, they tend to win, because on third down he just pulls them out of so many holes, and it's just he's an absolute unit of a man, and like you give him sort of only has to make 5-6 yards. He's got that little bit of burst of speed, and then when you make contact with him, he tends to be able to get 1 or 2 more yards on top just because of the sheer size of the guy. So it's going to be about sort of restricting that. Will we sort of see a bit more sort of like quarterback contained plays rather than going for an all-out sack approach? Will we just try and sort of hold Allen in the pocket and make him pass it? Obviously, he's very capable of doing that, but it's sometimes that's a little bit of a more of a risk for him than actually running the ball, just because he's so consistent at running it. So I think that'll be a key. If we can hold him to sort of like those smaller runs and restrict his success on third down and third and short, I think that's our key to success, really. If he runs all over us, I don't think we've got much of a chance.
What dare I ask for your win and loss prediction, Liam? If me and Mark are both going for a win,
I feel like it should be the Bills. I would say that the Bills are a better team in the main than us, but I do feel like we, because they're coming off a loss, and because we're at home, and because they're still a bit injury hit, I think we can beat them in a fourth quarter sort of scenario. I feel like that it could come down to that, and I think we might just tip them. I think it'll be back in both scores will be the 20s, something like 27, 24, something around that sort of mark. And I think I'm going to go for a Falcons win.
3 Falcons wins. Well, wow. I never. Well,
you can tell Carl's not here, because Carl would have like brought us all back down to earth.
Really lowered the tone. Stunning. Right. On to the segments, I think. Lee, do you have a rookie watch for the week?
I do. I obviously have not got our players to discuss. Yeah. I've got quite a few on my my list to tick off, and I've been umming and ahhing about like what order to sort of do them, really.
Right. So, yeah. Let's roll the clip. Unfortunately for yourself, but I'm obligated to do so nowadays. So we'll run the clip and make sure it's yours.
I was hoping it was going to be the dancing clip, not Liam and his happy chair.
I didn't want to do it like that.
What dancing clip?
If the Falcons reach the playoffs, we're playing it.
Oh, yeah, that can go viral if you want for that.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So rookie watch. Obviously, we've not got our players to discuss this week. They'll be making an appearance again on the next pod when they've been dominating the Bills. But for this week, I've been umming and ahhing. Like I've got a few in a pot. I've got one in each pocket here, ready to go with the rookies. And there's been some standouts, and I kind of finally settled on one just because of the week that he had this week just gone, and obviously with the season he's had. It's not somebody I want to pick, so you can probably sort of like guess.
Oh no,
where I'm heading with this sort of thing. Yeah. So I'm going to have to go for Emeka Buka because, I mean, he's
okay.
Yeah. Yes, he's a divisional rookie, which he could have been worse. I'm not going to pick a same because that's not why there's not anybody to pick. I have to pick a buck. I can't ignore him for any longer, really. Because I think this week he went for like 165 yards or something like that, and he's had like one of the best, if not the best, sort of like first 5 games overall for a rookie like ever wide receiver. He's up there like Jamar Chase sort of levels of starting. So, which is quite a high bar. I think he's ranked something like 9th or 10th, I think. In receivers like as a whole in the league right now, like he's like not even just rookies, just literally out and out receivers. He's like 9th ranked or something like that. He's got like 5 touchdowns, like 400 something yards already, which is good going for any rookie, especially in a team where he's got some competition to be sort of like that number 1 receiver. But he's showing his catch radius has been off the chart so far from just baking. What he's like. He's a bit of a gunslinger. Sometimes he'll just lob a ball there and hope somebody can get it.
Yeah.
And he's the guy who's going and getting it so far for him. So not ideal from a Falcons perspective because he's obviously he's a big part of why the Bucs have had
games.
Yeah, success so far this season. Absolutely huge part of it actually when you look at the time the yardage and touchdowns that he's provided in key moments in key games, and I think he's like he's got like a passer rating obviously at his end of like 150 or 140 or something, which is like he's the best in the league in terms of his actual when he's been targeted. He's the most efficient receiver in the entire league right now, which. I mean, yeah, it's not bad for a rookie, is it really? That so let's hope he slows down. But he's going to be someone to contend with for many years to come in the NFC South by the looks of it. Which is it was a fruity little pick, wasn't it? For the Bucs, like I kind of didn't really see it coming. It was a little bit like our Drake London sort of pick, where he kind of just went for a receiver, like a little bit out of the blue, and other people thought we had other holes to fill, and I feel like the Bucs sort of had the same thing. Like they have receivers that are useful, they have a good tight end. They probably thought they were going to pick somewhere else. Obviously, saw a talent, and picked the talent, and they're reaping the rewards.
Love that. That's a good addition. I think that puts you in good standing when Rookie Watch roster plays the Fraud Watch roster at the end of the season. So, We'll utilize that to sign out of Rookie Watch with running again. And Mark, I'm going to give you the floor straight away. So I know you've been assessing your options. I know there was, frankly, a ton of options from this game week alone. But of course, you're accumulating your decisions. So I'm going to run the clip, and then the floor is yours.
Right. Welcome to Fraud Watch. Now, as Danny alluded to, there were some heinous displays of football across the league this week, which can happen. So, there have been many additions this week of potential Fraud Watch players under surveillance. But this week, I kind of narrowed it down to 2. One of which has been a Fraud Watch number 1 target for quite some time, and was going to be my pick today. But there is one unit, and I alluded last week to the fact that defensive units can also be under Fraud Watch. And
he's broken up.
I've lost him. We've lost him. Right at a crucial moment.
Am I back?
You are now back.
Yeah,
you just fast forward instead of 1,000 words in 2 seconds.
So we're going to go with the defensive unit this week. And what we're going to do over the course of the season is we're actually going to build a Fraud Watch roster. And then we're going to go back through my roster and understand whether my takes were hits or misses. Now, this could be a big miss if they turn it around, because there is still plenty of time. But the Baltimore Ravens, your defensive unit, is now completely and utterly on fraud watch.
Oh, that's heavy. That is so heavy. A full unit.
Now, let me take you on a journey through space and time. Before you start chirping, Liam, I promise there are some numbers behind this. Okay? Baltimore Ravens currently second to last in overall total defense in the NFL. They have allowed 177 total points. That is an average of 35.4 points per game. They have allowed 732 rushing yards over 5 games. They have allowed 1,312 passing yards over that time as well. There can be the only team worse than that for defense is the Dallas Cowboys, and they are only a smidgen behind the Cincinnati Bengals, who are third from last. So we have to always look at this of what you've got and the expectation. Not one person across the league would have seen such a defensive capitulation coming from such a good team. Now, I realise they've now lost Lamar. That defense is going to be on the field a lot more than it would be if Lamar is back. Lamar might come back. We might see a resurgence, and I might have to eat some humble pie. However, stats and numbers do not lie, ladies and gentlemen.
They do
Baltimore
not.
Ravens defensive unit, you are officially on fraud watch. Whether Lamar's there or not, I take no prisoners. Sort your lives out. Otherwise, I mean, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
you hate
the
to see it.
Steelers.
I've got him frozen again. The Steelers, and he's just like this.
That's it. That's his mic drop moment. Just to state the word the Steelers.
Just the Steelers, full stop. He's back.
My connection is obviously awful, but the Steelers are prime top of the NFC North right now, and that should tell you all you want to know if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. That defensive unit is absolute ass cheeks, and it could well be getting worse if you're shipping that many points in 5 games. So we have an offensive coordinator who is still on fraud watch. We have a QB that is still on fraud watch. We also have a wide receiver 1, and none of those really are working their way out of that roster at the moment. So that is this week's fraud watch.
You heard it here. Roll the clip.
I think it's a very valid fraudulent pick. I think my surprise is just that that's what it is. Like, as if we're saying that there's a Ravens defense on fraud watch because they're not notoriously so good.
Just to rub a little bit of sauce on that as well, by the way, right? They are 31st in total defense, 31st in passing defense, 29th in run defense, dead last in scoring defense, and second last in red zone defense. I mean,
does not make
guys,
for great viewing.
That's awful.
Yeah. That is literally what fraud watch is for. That is quite literally what fraud watch is for.
I'm here to bring you the numbers that you don't need to go and read. So don't you worry about it.
I just had a quick look as well. They were by the end of last season, they were the 5th best defense in the league. So that's a drop off.
And
they didn't change a lot of personnel.
No, they'll be begging for DNPs back in no time.
Didn't their DC move on last year, or was it the year before?
I don't remember hearing
Todd,
that.
where did he go? I'm sure the Ravens DC, because didn't he interview for us? Todd Monken?
Did he leave last season?
Was it last season? Was it? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, well it would have been, because it would have been at the same time as Raheem got interviewed. So yeah.
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 So even more staggering. No reason for it. Baltimore, what are you doing?
You don't want to be in fraud watch come the end of the season. You need to to up your game. That's worse than not making the playoffs. That despicable stuff.
Now, what I was thinking is, though, there may be a couple of defensive players that I might have to just like insert into that unit, because there is a certain player who was involved in a big trade recently who is currently
No, I thought this name might crop up at some point. I thought it might crop up, getting your big dollar move, and I
just want to. I mean, you all know that I'm talking about Micah Parsons, right? But
yeah,
just so we all know, Jamar Chase has more tackles than him.
I saw that Chase was 3 for 3 at weekend at one point. I think it might have gone to 4 for 4 as well.
Listen, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. It's all in the numbers, boys.
That's all we're here for. That's all we're here for.
Parsons, watch yourself. You are under surveillance.
Stunning. Wrap the show up. Does anyone want to do a little whip around of any talking points from the league? There was some questionable performances and wins. Bengals are in the mud. Chiefs are a little bit in the mud.
It's just a mad week, wasn't it? Like it was. There was nothing about this week. I mean, like the bookies must have had a field day.
Oh, it must have been a fortune.
Like I don't know if anybody's seen a very, very famous defensive lineman now under surveillance, who got a multi contract last year by the name of Chris Jones. Just give up against the Jaguars mid-play. Like just went, nah, I'm out. Like I don't want that one. That is crazy. Like I don't even know where to begin. There was just so many ridiculous games.
Literally, I have no idea where to start, and I don't know if to start on the highs or the lows. Like the Colts beating the Raiders, kind of had them down for that anyway. But 40-6 is something.
And somehow Daniel Jones only managed to rack up 18 fantasy points. Yet they scored 40 points. Like, come on.
Who needs a quarterback anyway? Overrated.
I think the biggest talking point for me was the Cardinals. Because that was a head loss of like. And I'm going to say this with all the love in the world. Like, if a Falcons fan is sitting here going like, "Wow, that's a really bad way to blow a lead," like you've got problems, boys. Like we've blown leads, like spectacularly before, but that was like, geez. And I felt sorry for the young kid. I did. Like, it was very. If he just made a mistake, then I could sort of get along with it. And it was a very arrogant mistake to make, but I've seen the video of him getting bollocks on the sideline, and I'm not sure if I liked it. Like there's part of me that goes, well, I've taken talents off on coaches on the side of the field, and it's not nice. But for a young kid in a stadium full of however many thousand people, I'm not sure I like that. But then again, there's probably a lot of other old school football fans that would probably tell me I'm wrong. But and that head loss at the end by the I think it was it the special teams unit? It was just it was a capitulation of epic proportions.
It's a tough one on DeMarcado because yes, those points would have probably secured the win, but it still required the entire team to fall apart after that. They still had a ridiculously healthy lead. It was still a 2-score game. Like, I get it, you lose your momentum, and obviously the ball's turned over and blah blah blah. But you were still winning by like 14 points or something. It could have been more. Can't remember quite where it was, but
I think what it might have proved to me is Cam Ward can play, but he needs help.
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, even Zach Wilson had a decent game, every now and again. But they were few and far between, right? But I just I seen a QB there who had a bit of nous about him. So I don't know, Cam Ward could still be a player in this league.
Yeah. He's got the ideal.
Which 2 weeks ago, none of us would have said.
No.
But I think everybody looks at, like, most of the time, your number one pick is going to be under so much scrutiny. But if you think about how some of the recent ones got absolutely slaughtered constantly, he's been so under the radar that nobody even was like he was playing bad. And nobody even batted an eyelid. Really, it was just like, oh well, he plays for the Titans and they suck. So it's he's kind of just allowed to do it. Which
you get a bit of grace.
You just be getting an absolute grilling constantly. We always even talk about it just because the Titans are usually very irrelevant and often bad. That is kind of just floated under the radar, and that's kind of probably good for him because he can sort of start to progress a little bit within the team without that constant media pressure that some number picks have in the past. But I think he can play. There was a lot of he was one that like stat wise he's obviously bad and had this a really good week this week, and then there was a few around the league that sort of just had games. Tua had a really good game. I know they lost, but Tua had a really good game for the Dolphins, and then Dowdle, the Panthers, who obviously just never really showed anything, just comes in as a backup and runs over 200 yards in a touchdown in the game. It's another random thing that happened. CJ Stroud, who's been struggling all season for 4 touchdowns and 250 odd yards, just decided he was good again.
He was playing a certain defensive unit.
He was, and he took advantage of that.
He was, but he didn't know they were in fraud watch at the time, so he's actually put them in there.
Well, he's been under surveillance himself, so probably not best to worry about who else is over fraud watch. But big up CJ Stroud. I thought that was a great response. Broncos beating the Eagles as well. That was
taking them
mad.
for the first loss. I think though, and I don't know. I don't think I'm out of turn saying this. I don't think the Eagles have been anywhere near as consistent as they were last season. I know they were 4-0, but they didn't look 4-0. They've not got me out of my chair at any point or anything like that. They've just done the job well.
Saquon run the ball 6 times in that game.
Yeah, you can't do that.
It's just there's something not right there. I mean, for me, Lions are the team to beat right now. They are playing so aggressive, great football. They actually look defensively better since Aaron Glenn left. No surprises on the Jets now, but they look more the total package right now for me than any other team.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I'd say so. Last one from me. I mean, you might have some more, but the Commanders turning over the Chargers. I know it was Jaden Daniels' first game back from injury. I think it's probably fair to say those two teams are on kind of a similar expectation level at the moment in time in terms of they're both now reaching for playoffs consistently and things like that. But 10 points against the Commanders teams, it's not a great showing from the Chargers.
I think I probably would have argued that the Chargers were gonna overtake the Chiefs this year, and that would hot take or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that they had the personnel. Harbaugh's never been known for playing, barnstorming, exciting football, but I don't know, like they just haven't looked exciting.
No.
And it, for my money, they should with the personnel that they have. So to go in, and that was, I mean, what was it, 27-10, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
27-10. That's it. That's a spanking, boys. That's a, we're not going to let you run any points on us.
And they took all them 10 points in the first quarter as well. They didn't score after the first quarter.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So, this is what I'm saying. This weekend just feels so insane because everybody who you probably would have banked, especially after we managed to put as many points on the Commanders as we did, I just didn't expect them to be so vanilla. But yeah, NFL's wild right now.
It is.
It is. It's a funky season, which is why the Falcons are going to go all the way.
Yeah,
that's it. That's going to be it.
There we go.
All of the Lions team's going to be injured by the time the playoffs come around, and then we're just gonna we're gonna skate it. It's going to be easy.
Just strut in there. In fact, that's my last one. That's my last one. A few weeks, I'd said it myself. I thought the Packers were the real deal this season, and they've just lost their heads in the last few weeks. Still think they're a very, very good team, and I still think they're going to go very far this season. But I have no idea what happened in the last couple of weeks. They've just gone from looking like a contender to like a very, very average team. They didn't even look like the team they were last season.
No.
And your potential man on fraud watch isn't helping that either.
No, and you sold the farm for him, right? So it's one of those things, like they've got to figure it out, and they got to figure it out quick, because like a lot, like I just said about the Chargers, that team's got some juice. So
yeah,
why like how are you not just giving it large a bit more? Like I don't get it. And I don't know whether there's a part of it here where are we seeing Jordan Love's ceiling? Like is that maybe a part of it? I don't know. I don't dislike Jordan Love, but there has to come a conversation at some point where you go, well, look, are you going to be the next Brett Favre, or are you just going to be a bit of a Ryan Tannehill kind of, I'll just do enough to keep the team rolling. So I think they got to figure it out, and I don't think it's all on Love. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they haven't necessarily flourished him with top class receivers, and they're not going to get a chance to now because they've sold the farm for a defensive player. But they were definitely high on my list coming into the season, and I'm not seeing enough now to worry about them. And that's quite a bold thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I share that thought. I was all in on the Packers at the start of the season, and now the jinx that I am is truly revealing itself just 5 games into the season.
If you could start supporting the Bucks for a couple of weeks, that would be great.
I don't know if they'd have me over on that podcast, to be honest with you, with my
you don't have to go on the podcast. Just will it into the universe, just
put it out there.
Yeah.
You know what though? I'm a Manchester United fan, aren't I? So I can't back the Bucks in any way, shape, or form because the Glazers have them like they have United. It's my hell. It's my hell.
Yeah, the less I say about that, the better.
I was going to say I won't get Mark started on soccer first. I think I'll leave that one. On that note, boys, that's me for the show. Unless you've got any final thoughts.
No.
So, little recap for everyone that's just joined in a little bit later. If you want to go back and watch the rest of the show, we had Matt on from Bills UK, who gave us a nice 20 or 25-minute breakdown that we're looking at ahead of Monday Night Football. Falcons obviously in red helmets. Nice little throwback jersey weekend.
Yeah.
Going to be stunning. All three of us fancy the Falcons' chances, but I won't say by how far. You'll have to go back and watch that. Mark, where can they watch the show? Where can they see us? What's going on?
Right, I've got my new microphone on, so I'm hoping that it doesn't
we don't
put
know.
the microphone down. But we'll give it a go. So, guys, you can go back and watch us on all of your favorite social media platforms. We're over on Twitter. I'm still not calling it X, Elon. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Or if you prefer the audio version of the podcast, then we are available on all of your favorite podcast applications, Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcast.
It held.
Your mic didn't break. Your mic didn't break. So the new mic.
It held, yeah.
Amazing.
It took it.
Big up the TikTok shop. £7.
Let's go. Love
Worth
that.
every penny.
That was worth every single penny. Ladies and gents, thank you again for watching. I know it was a bit of a different day, so we've thrown you all out of routine. And it'll have to be next. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we're Monday Night Football, so we're going to have to be later again next week. So we'll keep you posted on the date. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week when the Falcons will have another win on the board.